The Metro Chicago Sports Network, which is what everybody knows me for. I do more of that, a lot of sports programming. What I do is I'm a little different than everybody else that goes out to try and find programming. Programming technically found me. High school organizations found me and asked me to come out and do all their video production for them. And in the process of doing both the regular production for the coaches, I also do the video play-by-play of games. I do about 4 to 5, sometimes as many as 6 games a week. I produce programming every week. It goes variously, and it's up to some of the cable companies that cover me when they want to air them. Others have a set schedule with me, but I do work every week. I have several times a week. I cover the north and northwest suburbs, basically southeast Lake County and the northern townships all the way out to the Kane County line. Which means basically about 350,000 cable subscribers. The process of going through my shoot is that I sit down, the school tells me be at a certain game. My process is the first part being what I do at a game, which is setting up the camera. I always believe in redundancy, so I have a second unit or possibly even a third unit that I record on at the same time I record the first, so that I always have a copy of the game. So even if I miss out somewhere or something happens, I still have a copy. From there, I make a raw copy at a game, unannounced, and then take it back to my studio and overdub the play-by-play, and adding the introduction, the public service announcements, highlights, anything else I want to put in there in the process of a game. I started doing cable broadcasts, started doing programming in 1987 was the first year I did broadcast, and it's expanded now to about 5 sports that I do every year, which is football, basketball, ice hockey, and baseball. Well, the type of feedback that you get is usually somebody comes up and says, I saw your broadcast, I really like what you do. Sometimes I get, gee, you don't talk about the other team as much. It's changed remarkably, not only from the technical end, but also from how I cover games. You know, technology changes, where you shoot, how you shoot. Now the advent of the change from the 4:3 aspect of a camera to 16:9, the wider shot, has changed how I shoot a game, so that I can get a wider view of what's going on. I'm not here to shoot an individual player. I'm here to shoot the team and what a team does. So I want to see the whole floor, the whole field. And so it's a little different for me. I think it's changed also in that, you know, as the industry has changed, I think it's also changed for the better in that there's a lot more interest in television and the various ways of giving the information. And I think, you know, the cable opens up more It's always about the players. It's not about me. The technology and the work, I keep it simple. It looks like it's a lot of work, but it's really not a lot of work if you know how to keep the operation simple. You can make it complex. You can go through computer and make it very complex. I don't use computer. I do strictly standalone equipment, and I have my routine, and it flows. Say a basketball game that runs an hour and 15 minutes of tape will take me, or video, an hour and 15 minutes of video will take me an hour and 30 minutes, and I have a final copy. So it's not like the idea of it's a lot of work. It's not a lot of work unless you want to make it a lot of work. And I think that's where people get scared of public access and working on public access and working on television, is they think that it takes a lot of work, and it doesn't have to. What's always most challenging in completing a program is making sure you do the technical end at the beginning and making sure that you relax and enjoy yourself and challenge yourself to do better each and every game. And I think, for me, each and every event, do a little something different, try a little something different, challenge yourself from a not only the technical standpoint, but from the creative standpoint. I do some marketing, but it's really pretty much word of mouth. I mean, people have come to know me now over the years. I've worked so many games, and now I'm getting a lot of the parents played for me, so now it's the kids that are playing. So the parents all know me and they go, oh, okay, you're still around, huh? You're still doing the things. I do some YouTube, I do some website and whatever, but that's merely to kind of let everybody know that I'm still around. The nitty gritty is that you love you love what you do. You have to day in and day out. I work about 350 sports events a year, counting those that I don't do on cable as well as those that I do for television. Actually, I see about 3,500 games to 4,000 games a year by the time I get done with all the editing and the copying and whatever, because I bicycle between various different cable companies. So for me, you've got to just love it. And it's also about the players. It's really about the players and caring about them. If it were strictly win-loss games and just doing a play-by-play for the ego sense of it, I could never have lasted. It's really about everything else that's the side that to everybody else would seem like the side. The players and the love of the games, the love of doing it, of working. The deciding factor of why games make it to cable and why they don't. Freshman and sophomore games do not make it to cable. I also have time limits at two of my cable stations, so I have to be careful that the games fit into the time allotment. The other factor is I also have restrictions from the schools. That some schools say we do not want you to put those games on TV for various reasons. Sometimes it has to do with what occurred in the game, that sort of thing. So I have to be flexible. But generally speaking, games on the air year to year, about 125 to 200. The future of programming, it's such a wide open field now. Before it was very restricted. not only with cable but also the internet. I got initially involved in public access I was a radio broadcaster, and one of the sports teams asked me to come in and do their play-by-play. They had a spectacular player that year, and they said, "Oh, come in and do the cable broadcast." And one thing led to another, and next thing I knew, I had like 5 teams that were asking me to do it, and I just continued to expand it. I was always into radio. I was always into broadcasting. I started in broadcasting when I was 13 years old, and I've been in high school sports for 43 years now, and done work now 50,000 games. So it's like it was a natural for me to when people came calling and said, "Hey, come and do some television for us," I said, "By all means, I'll be happy to do it for you." Public access television, it's your community. It's all the various aspects. It's not only, with me, it's the local high school sports teams, but it's the local news, a community news, community events, everybody's got a story to tell. And in a community, I think it's very important that everybody have an opportunity to tell that story, however it be presented. I think public access is being fulfilled to the extent that people are willing to fulfill it. It has a valuable service, and it's very important to the community, because here's where things that you watch your downtown, your big television stations in whatever community you're in, you don't get that local focus and that local import of what's important to your community. And what I do for public access is really the fun of broadcasting, and just all kinds of things that you can't get anywhere else. Just the fun of playing around with machines and working and the sense that you're giving back something to the community. Oh, I love camera. I love camera. To be in the control room to me is either very intense if you're the director, or incredibly boring if you're anything else. I mean, for me, even if a camera, people don't understand when you're sitting there in a studio and you're pointing a camera. There's things like headshots. There's things like making sure that you have the proper amount of headroom, making sure you're leading the subject. I mean, these are things that are technical, and it's kind of hard to explain, but I mean, those are the sort of things that make it fun to do that. Well, public access television always has a very important place, and that is being the community source for information, for news. I mean, a local newscast that's specifically local and orient. I think there's all kinds of opportunities. It's a wide open market in many ways, and I think that's been the big mistake, is that people look at it and get scared of talking in front of a camera. There are people watching. Well, really, it's just the camera and you, or you and one other person, or 2 other people, or 3 other people, however you want to do it. But there's so many things, going out on the street and just street interviews, all kinds of opportunities that are available. Public access means precisely that. Public access. The public, everybody has an opportunity to do whatever they want on TV. The biggest handicap to public access is the sense of fear of getting in front of a camera or touching equipment or things like that, and people are scared of being there and doing that. I think what really, once you get in and you realize it's not that scary. It's sort of the same thing I say about computers. Computers are the dumbest thing in the world. What you get out of it depends on what you put into it. And I think that's really kind of the whole issue with public access. The biggest strength of public access is, again, it is reaching the community. The strength is you're there. You're there for the community. You're giving something back to your community in whichever way that you choose to give back. Organizationally, I think the biggest thing is that people don't see the need. That is to say, they don't see what public access can be, and so they say, why do we have it? And if they don't fund it properly and they don't provide the newer modern equipment that could make things easier for everybody. The advantage, when you're in the studio that I don't have, is if you make a mistake in the studio, you can always hopefully do it over again, except if you're doing a one camera shoot and you break the one camera, which has happened. But on the average, a lot of that is just the typical one camera. The one camera shoot. Whoopsie! What are you doing? Where are you going? I've worked 50,000 sports events in 43 years of sports, and that includes before public access and more than just that. But it's incredible. It's the love of the kids and the love of the sports, and just having a lot of fun. And they were talking about plaques and things like that. That's not where I'm at. I much prefer to get everybody together. Where are you now? And go back and see the guys that are in their 50s and the guys that are in their 20s and the guys that are just out now in college. I'm Mark Braun, and I work at the Metro Chicago Sports Network, and you're watching Eye on Access.